We've got early winners and losers from week 1 of the NFL preseason for you guys. So let's jump right into it here with our first winner, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. Now, I am the Steelers talk host, or Steelers channel host here at Chat Sports, so maybe we're a little bit biased here with this one. But Kenny Pickett legitimately looked really, really good in that first drive that he had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Finished his night 6 of 7 for 70 yards and a touchdown. And I watched every single snap that Kenny Pickett took during this game. And let me tell you, man, he showed me everything that you want to see from Kenny Pickett heading into year 2. You know, last year I thought that he had some real issues sticking in the pocket, stepping up in the pocket. And Kenny's one of those guys, I think a lot of people see Kenny Pickett as almost like a Kirk Cousins type of quarterback where he wants to stay within structure, maybe not the most physically talented guy in the world, but really last year, Pickett was more comfortable outside the pocket than he was inside the pocket. And going into year 2, I've been looking to see if Pickett's progressions within the pocket have improved. And last year, that he definitely showed me that. You know, he showed that playmaking ability he showed last season. He had multiple throws on the run, converted multiple 3rd and longs. And then, of course, he had that highlight reel touchdown to George Pickens for the touchdown where he stepped up in the pocket. So Kenny showed me everything that I need to see from him to potentially be that franchise quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into year 2. Now it's just one drive. The Buccaneers barely played any of their starters defensively, so I'm not taking too much stock into this performance, at least right now. But right now you better be watching for Kenny Pickett because he might have a pretty decent season here in 2023. And speaking of second-year quarterbacks, how about the Commanders quarterback, Sam Howell, who went 9 of 12 last night against the Cleveland Browns, also had a touchdown. And Howell's one of those guys that I think a lot of people are kind of doubting, counting out right now because he's a 5th-round pick. You know, he was inconsistent his final year at UNC. But listen, man, he has done an incredible job, in my opinion, at taking all the proper steps to try to become that franchise quarterback that the Commanders think that he is. He's improved his footwork. He's improved his throwing mechanics over the course of the offseason. And then Eric Bieniemy said that he has grown a ton in the mental processing department from year 1 to year 2. And that definitely showed last night with that 9 of 12 performance. He ended his night with a touchdown. So good stuff there from Sam. I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on Howell here as the preseason moves on. And let's continue with the quarterback train here for the Cleveland Browns now. Rookie out of UCLA, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, really showed out last night, leading the Browns to almost a comeback in the 4th quarter last night, going 9 of 10, passing for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Absolutely fantastic performance from DTR last night. That's now 2 weeks in a row where Dorian has looked really, really nice. And really, I think that this guy is going to be one of the best backup quarterbacks in the National Football League moving forward. And he might even get a chance to start as his career moves on. He showed continuous improvement when he was at UCLA. I was really high on DTR coming out in this year's draft. And it seems like he's proving me right a little bit there with a good play that he's had during the preseason to this point. And now we'll get off the quarterbacks here for a little bit, and let's talk about a wide receiver, Jaxon Smith-Njigba of the Seattle Seahawks. I had Smith-Njigba ranked as my number 1 wide receiver coming into this year's draft. He definitely showed that skill set there. 3 receptions, 25 yards. My comp for him coming out of college was Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think it's like a perfect match. They're pretty much the same size. They're both great run blockers from the slot. You know, they're neither of them is super fast, right? But they're technicians with the route running area. And I think Jaxon is absolutely going to be that. And with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett taking the top off defenses, Jaxon is going to have so much free reign to roam and do his thing underneath. He's going to be such an important weapon for Geno Smith to take advantage of this year, and he definitely showed out in his preseason debut. Now, let me know in the comments section for me right now, what was the biggest preseason winner to this point in week 1? I know we still got some more games to come here, but let me know what you think is the biggest preseason winner in the NFL to this point. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now let's talk about another quarterback here, this time for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, he was very efficient. That's what I'll give him, all right? It was a lot of short passes. He did have a nice fade touchdown pass there to kind of finish off his day. Finished 8 of 9 for 63 yards. So not a terrible night for Baker. The offensive line for Tampa had a bunch of penalties when he was in the game last night. So that definitely doesn't help him. But Kyle Trask, the backup quarterback here, did not play well. I think Baker definitely solidified himself as the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last night, so that makes him a big winner in my book. Then we got another wide receiver here, another rookie wide receiver out of the University of Houston, now playing for the Houston Texans, Tank Dell. Nathaniel Tank Dell, man, this was one of my favorite receivers coming out in the draft. I had a second-round grade on this kid. He showed out against the New England Patriots there on Thursday night. With 5 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown. Just super, super shifty. He's tiny at 5'8" and 3/8 and 65 pounds. But this dude can move, and he can get there in a hurry. His stop-start ability is right up there with the best when it comes to college prospects, and I think that he's going to be a really, really solid piece for C.J. Stroud to take advantage of here in the early part of his career. Then we're back on the quarterbacks here with Seattle Seahawks backup quarterback Drew Lock, who showed that, let's put it this way. Pete Carroll said a year ago that he believes that they have 2 starter-capable players there in Geno Smith and Drew Lock. He put Drew Lock in that same category as Geno Smith, and Smith ended up winning Comeback Player of the Year. I think Drew Lock's a pretty decent backup in this league. Don't necessarily consider him a true starter, but he finished the night 17 of 24. That's pretty efficient there for Drew Lock. 191 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but overall, I think Drew Lock did good for himself there with an overall good performance for the Seahawks. And then we've got a running back here, Emanuel Wilson for the Green Bay Packers, man. Like, this is somebody that's kind of coming out of nowhere here out of Fort Valley State. He ended up having 6 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's the best photo that we could find of this guy, man. That is how unknown Emanuel Wilson is, and he performed that well. 2 tutties for this guy. Really feel good for this man, and he really did show out, and he's been one of the surprise stars of the preseason here, at least in Week 1. Going to be interesting to see how he does here going into Week 2 of the preseason. So now we cover the NFL better than anyone here on YouTube. We give you guys multiple videos every single day. So if you want the in-depth NFL coverage every single day here on YouTube, 100% free. You know where to go. Go ahead, click that subscribe button right now and join the Chat Sports family today. Now we're on to the losers here, starting with C.J. Stroud, the quarterback out of the Ohio State University. Absolutely looked terrible. I'm sorry, he just did. He didn't play much against the Patriots on Thursday, but dude, he did not look good whatsoever. 2 of 4 with an interception, just 13 yards passing. And listen, I have high hopes for Stroud as he heads into his rookie campaign. Now, I think this year he's going to take his lumps like every single rookie does. And the pocket presence, I think that it's definitely not where it needs to be. And I think that puts a cap on his overall upside. But what I've said about Stroud from the beginning of this process, going back to the draft process this offseason, is that he's a very talented passer. He's got a good arm. He anticipates space really, really well. And, you can put good touch on his passes as well. So I think he's going to be a very good starter in this league once the Texans can put enough help around him. But he's probably going to take a couple of these lumps, especially in his rookie season. Then another loser here, Matthew Peterson, our Broncos host, had Russell Wilson as a winner. But I'm sorry, Matt. I have to disagree with you here. I think he was a loser after that first night. Last season for Russell, not very good. Obviously, within the Nathaniel Hackett offense, Sean Payton coming in. You're hoping that Russell ends up playing better here in his second year in the Mile High City. And he was just okay last night. He wasn't fantastic. He was 7 of 13 last night passing. So that's just above 50% completion percentage. That's not where you want to see it, especially in a Sean Payton offense to this point. Now, I think Russell, I think he's going to play a lot better than what he played last night. I mean, I don't know. It was against the Cardinals' atrocious roster, so that might be cause for concern at least a little bit. But I'm a believer in Russell Wilson. I believe in his talent. I think last year he got absolutely shivved by Nathaniel Hackett and the complete hack job that he had of this system. I don't care what people say about Sean Payton calling Nathaniel Hackett out. I think it's a good thing that he said that. I think it's telling the truth, and it's just moving forward. Maybe it's not the best way to go about it, but at least he's telling the truth. And then we get to Minnesota Vikings cornerback here, Andrew Booth Jr., second-round pick out of the University of Clemson from last year. Spent most of last season on the injured list. And he just didn't play well last night. Now, here's the thing with Booth. He's always played in a zone-heavy defense. Even going back to high school, he's always played in a zone-heavy defense. Now, Brian Flores, the new defensive coordinator, is coming in there in Minnesota, who plays almost exclusively man. Right, he played that Belichick-style scheme. They play more man than anyone else in the National Football League, more cover zero than anybody in the National Football League, and that's just not Booth's skill set. That's not what the Vikings drafted him for, because last year they were trying to run a Fangio system that has a lot of zone in it. He's a perfect fit for that defense, but now that they're going to more of a man defense, Booth isn't really a good fit for that, and it's definitely going to take a little bit of time for him to adjust. And then my final loser here is the entire Cleveland Browns franchise. I'm sorry, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was a winner for the night, but Cleveland overall is a freaking joke of a franchise. I'm sorry. I know I'm the Steelers host here at Chat Sports, and I know I'm biased. But if you're down 17-15 and your quarterback just drove your team down for a potentially game-tying drive, you miss the 2-point conversion, and I don't care if it's preseason. You kick the onside kick and you try to go win the damn football game. You don't kick it off with no timeouts left and less than 2 minutes left in the game and say, here we go, Washington Commanders, just take this win from us. Here we go, you can have it. You just don't do that. Winning organizations don't do that. They play to win all the time. It doesn't matter who is on the field. Now there's, people might say, oh, well, it's just preseason. Who cares? This kind of stuff permeates within the locker room, within the building. And this is why the Cleveland Browns have an NFL-leading 9 losing seasons over the last decade. All right, that is 9 losing seasons. Just 1 winning season in the last decade. That is awful. I am sorry, man. That's just not what winning organizations do, and that's why the Cleveland Browns are an absolute joke of an NFL franchise and my biggest loser of the weekend to this point. So let me know who you think is the biggest loser of the NFL in the first week of the preseason right now down there in the comment section. You've already given me a winner. Now give me a loser down there in the comments. That'll be it for me today, guys. Really do appreciate all the support. My name is Jack Sperry. You can find me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. Currently doing my NFL QB rankings on my Twitter right now. Again, I'm at Jack_Sperry if you want to check me out. Really do appreciate the support, guys. Make sure you click that subscribe button for more daily NFL content here on YouTube, 100% free. And until next time, guys, peace.